I think we're back. Yes. That looks like a back to me. 20 milliseconds per frame. We're probably risking it a little bit with that. Probably risking it a little bit. But we're sticking with it. We're sticking with it, okay? 2% of my frames are dropped, but that's fine. I'm at 48 frames, okay? We'll be okay with that. We're a bit loud. Ba 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 ba. 1, 2. Ba ba. Whatever. That's good enough. Ah, good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Yeah, I'm a bit loud. There we go. Now I can see the chat properly. I can see if there's any issues. Okay. And good morning, good morning, good morning. Well, living in a great old time. Look at all these broken links. Terrible. Let's just pretend that one didn't exist. Let's see how long it lasts. Actually, I may have to check to see what it looks like. We'll take that risk while it's still alive. Whether it actually streams it at 48 or whether it actually doesn't enjoy that. So we're being a tad experimental today. Okay, it does, right? That looks about. Okay, it does, right? That looks about. Yep. Quality advanced 1080. Okay, so it doesn't do it at 1080p 48. Okay, so it doesn't do it at 1080p 48. Okay. Unavailable captions. Okay, whatever. Unavailable. If it crashes, we'll move it down to 30 and hopefully it'll do better. But I'll keep an eye on it. How you doing? I'm doing grand myself. I'm enjoying a nice raw energy, which is my energy drink of the moment, because it's made with fruit juice, according to this. Still got a bunch of sugar in it. Nice and Monster though. Lazy, low, and scratchy is the spicy food. Maybe. I also just haven't talked much in the last couple of days. I've been sitting, not doing nothing, but I've been thinking and working. It might have something to do with the spicy food, but I don't think so. I guess it could have damaged that, or like bruised my vocal cords a little bit. Caused stress to it, you know. But I'm not certain that that's how that works. I don't know. Hi Bixby. Does spicy food make your voice lower?
I don't have an answer for that.
Me neither. Maybe I have to specify eating it. Hi Bixby. Does eating spicy food make your voice lower?
I think I missed something.
You didn't. It picked it up right. Bless you, little Bixby. You'll get there. You'll get there eventually. I believe in you. I ate a lot of, well, it wasn't even a lot of spicy food. It was just wings. It was just mushroom wings. They were real nice, but they were real spicy. They were labeled as insane in their levels of spice, and I am inclined to agree. They were very, very spicy. It was the sort of spice. I did not mean that. I mean, does it? It does not make your voice lower. It's just different today. Are you trying extra hard today? No, I'm just. I'm just speaking like this. I'm not making an attempt to. I think I'm just a bit more relaxed than usual. Yeah. It's nice to be back doing stuff, to be working on art with people. It's fun. It's fun to do that sort of project. I've been spending well, I mean, it was like 3 days straight that I was outside doing stuff with people. And that was quite fun. But it has meant that like the show has been a bit slower. It was probably the worst time that it could have happened. I haven't really been streaming. I think the last time I streamed was Monday. We did a poll in the server, and the next show format test thing will be for the YouTube trending stuff. Yeah, I think my voice is a bit better when I'm like this, but it's also like really, really fried. There's a lot of fry in there, a lot of you know. It doesn't look like the stream is that happy with what I'm doing, so. It does seem to buffer every so often. It says that it's trying to do it at 1080p 60. So you must just not be able to stream 1080p 48. Like the back end must just not support it. Interesting. Yeah. I wonder why. That's such a weird way to do it, to scale it up to 60 FPS rather than to scale it down to 30. I suppose you're always getting the data, so you probably want to do something with it rather than dropping it. Definitely something to keep note of. 48 not allowed on YouTube. That's what I've taken away from this. 48 frames is not something you're allowed to do, especially not at this resolution, which is not proper 1080p. It's when you start clicking the mouse, it freezes and continues. Yeah, because I'm clicking the mouse when I see problems so that I can read the thing on the screen, and then you get the problems at the same time because I'm it's so it appears like I'm clicking the mouse and then there's problems, but it's there's problems and then I'm clicking the mouse. But yeah, I think it's because there's a delay that you're experiencing that. I don't know how much of a delay there is this time. It seemed like quite a bit on when I had my phone, but I was looking at it. But yeah, we're trying something new. Like we got 4x6 resolution. So we're a little bit more boxed, like an old TV screen. I quite like it. It's cozy. The black bars are a bit weird to have, but I actually quite like it. I think it's quite fun. The frame rate on my end is 48 frames, but I guess that YouTube just doesn't like streaming it. It'll be very interesting to see what the VOD. Actually, because I had that 2 minutes or whatever it was of stream first, I'll be able to check to see what it looks like. The volume is a little bit out of sync. Oh yeah, it is. Let me just fix that real quick. Bum, bum, bum. Oh no, are we gonna have to restart the little capture card? Okay, fine. That's a-okay. Yeah, I got what you meant. Probably is. Oh, there we go. Bah. Now I'm faded, and now I'm back to the right colors-ish. But I fixed the intro outro noises. Okay, what does it end up creating itself as? 1080p. Okay, it literally doesn't say. Nice. Okay. It's okay. You don't worry about it. I understood what you meant between volume and sound. Volume, yeah, makes sense. Don't worry about it. I'll have to delete that little tiny video. Maybe I'll unlist it. Yeah, let's unlist it. Do. It's videos live 2 minutes and 18 seconds. Edit. Unlisted. Save. Done. No longer will that be there in the little feed. Exclusive content. Exclusive 2 minutes of content that you got to experience for a very short amount of time. I'm glad that it's working now, though. Even if it's not working properly, it's working in some way, and we've learned a little bit, and that's even more important. But yeah, I have the intro outro sound is back now. I can do the, and it's, oh, I did it the wrong way. This. But I can also do it the other way, and it's doing the lights again. Except for it's quite light in the room right now, so it's kind of, you know. Bum, 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 bum. Like that. And the lights do the thing again. Not quite as much. But yeah, we're having a good old time. I don't really know what to really go on about. There's not, to be honest, as exciting as this week has been and full of stuff, I don't really have much to to really speak on. I don't think. I mean, in terms of talking shop, at least, there's obviously the arts. The art stuff is really fun. I've been kind of distracted in the news about stuck to the news about Israel, Palestine. But there has been a few things that have been going on that I should really look at. Yeah, I can't stay for long, but I needed to spam here a little. Yeah. Well, have fun whenever you leave. Oh, so GB News is coming online. Maybe I'll just do commentary, but just on GB News. That would be interesting. Just do a GB News review all the time. I'll become the most knowledgeable person on this future, but then current news station. What happened there? Let's quickly news and ramble about important. So Israel. So back in 1948, Britain gave the site of Palestine, the location that Palestine was in, to Jewish settlers, who then formed a state in on that territory around Jerusalem, which then, since then, basically they've expanded out, doing regular colonial stuff. And recently there was some clashes after some celebrations. There's always clashes throughout, since basically they did the whole initial colonization stuff. So there was these clashes like a week ago now, on either the final or second final day of Eid, where everybody is like partying, kind of like in a New Year's sort of celebration type thing. And there was a bunch of like police brutality, and I think the army might have been brought in, the IDF, which then basically caused a terrorist group, which I'm definitely comfortable calling them a terrorist group at this point, a terrorist group called Hamas, who basically said, you've got to, I mean, they're fighting the right fight for a terrorist group, but yeah, they basically retaliated and sent some rockets to Tel Aviv, which then caused Israel to fight back, which was, well, it didn't cause, Israel was probably just looking for a fight, to be honest. The government there is extremely racist against Arabs, so, and the populace too. So yeah, it's not a very good situation. I mean, you count the death toll on the Israeli side in like the tens, whereas like on the Palestinian side it's like thousands. So I feel like it's like a no-brainer who is the oppressed and the oppressor here, especially considering the history of Israel. Well, I haven't made that much of a comment about it online because, I mean, this shit's been going on for literally nearly 100 years now, and there's not really a clear path that I can do to support the situation. And if I don't have a clear idea of what I could do, then how am I supposed to recommend one to other people, except from like educating? But like people are doing a way better job of that than I could right now. So it just ends up if I put my 2 cents in, I feel like I'm just clouding the rest of the stuff. It was the same with the BLM protests too, that like I'm not sure that I'm the best to educate on this matter. Even though I know and agree with the activists wholeheartedly, and I might know quite a lot about the situation. So I share the resources that I think are good, and I just haven't found any good ones this time. But yeah, it's a pretty shit situation, to be honest. But it's like pretty much, well, it's not like most war zones, because this is very much like a highly advanced society that is a colony taking more land. That's what I see it as. So it's not, there's not really many analogs. Hi 73, just talking about Israel. I forget that people can just come in. It's so funny. But yeah, the Israel apartheid and Palestinian genocide is not in a great situation right now. And I find it hard to. There's a few times where I've seen people say, "What can I do?" And I'm like, I don't know what you can do. There is even protesting, I'm not sure will actually like change the mind of the governments here, at least. I mean, protest only works in a limited capacity, and I think this is one of the times that it wouldn't, because we have like a direct involvement in it. Like an analog could be to like the US protests against the Vietnam War, which probably did have quite a lot of effect, but what had more of effect was the fact that the Vietnamese were just really good tactically in that, even though they suffered a lot of casualties, not just deaths but like injuries and like destruction of land and shit. They still won that, so they still didn't secede to American control. So I see that as a win. But in this situation, it is such a well-organized bad guy against a group, like a country that has not got very good organization, and those that are organized are also kind of shitty. So really, it's like I just don't know how to navigate such a situation. And maybe I'll think of it. Maybe I'll think of something that I could do, but it's yeah. At the minute, I'm just watching and reading about it. Yeah. I feel in part that like the whole protest movement in this one is not as well thought out as BLM has been, and I think in part people are using it as an excuse to go have a celebratory time and feel like they're doing some good, rather than it actually having any sort of aim. Yeah, I mean, it's kind of, I that's the general sentiment that I've gotten as well. 73, like that it's really bad, but most of my circle and the people I see seem to be in support of Palestine. I know of a few people who are like vehemently pro-Israel, and I can understand their arguments, but I don't know, it feels like it feels roughly the same as like veganism, right? To me, that like there is a very obvious choice here, which is like the better path, but people are so set in their ways and they have such bizarre arguments that really do just require straight up belief, just like like a faith, right? They take a faith to bring it. Even those that aren't Jewish that support Israel, like it requires a sort of faith in some sort of ideology. Like you have people who are saying that, like, well, yeah, but the Jews were there 4,000 years ago, so that gives them rights over the land. But that just doesn't. That's like a wild idea. Like it wasn't right when the Jews were exiled from that land, but it isn't right to exile somebody now from it, you know. And like it is like an apartheid state. Arabs are a second-class citizen in that country. So, if you can even call it a country, really, it really is a colony. Like, it's a colony with baggage. That's what I call it. Well, it's not what I call it. That's what I would call it if I had to give a proper label. Colony with baggage. But it's always been quite heated. And honestly, it's like if I put myself into the shoes of Israelis, or is the Israeli government right now, the right wing arm, the far right wing arm, because there isn't really a left wing, but it's right wing and right wing, really. But the far right, the current folks that are in charge, this is like real good for them. Because Bibi was like in the midst of this whole corruption scandal stuff, and now that's like I don't think anyone will be talking about that when talking about Israel. I try to understand both sides, but if we had to compare history, it doesn't seem fair. And it was England who gave the land, right? Besides the story of being chosen by God, yeah, it pretty much is that, yeah, and also. So like you can say that because around the time in like the 30s, just after the Second World War, basically there was like big pushments in the pushes for like the Zionist movement to like take some land to work on, and they really wanted Palestine. They asked the Soviet Union first, and there was some things thrown around, some plans for the Soviet Union to help out, produce a state for Jews to work on in and around Jerusalem, right? But they came to a consensus that was not a good idea, because obviously there was already people living there, and they could see that they just didn't want to do any colonizing, right? So what they ended up doing was forming what's it called? An oblast. I think that's how you pronounce it. An oblast in eastern Siberia, I think, which is the Jewish Autonomous Oblast, the JAO. I can't remember the name of the city, but there was like a bunch of Russian Jews that formed a Jewish state there, because there was a big problem with the Jews that they didn't like own much land at the time, especially post World War II. Like lots of records and stuff were destroyed, so like huge swathes of Jewish culture was just gone. So there was like a real movement to get land into Jewish hands, which I'm in favor of. But the problem is if that land is already owned by someone else, it's not really, especially when it's poor people, like that just does not. It's just a ridiculous like idea to do. And there was already Jews in Palestine at the time, I think, but yeah, they obviously they wanted to have your own government and stuff and own land. So yeah, so there was this JAO thing that didn't really pick off. It didn't really take off that well, and it didn't really quell the sentiment that the Zionist movement represented, and they still wanted to produce Zion. So yeah, So they asked the British, and then the British went and helped claim the land. And then eventually the Soviet Union did warm around to the idea and gave support to Israel as well. So it wasn't like a fully disregarded. Like once, because the thing is with communist countries too, they tend to like support the right to self-determination. And Israel in its early days, after the 8-day war, 7-day war, something like that. I can't remember. It's got like a really cheesy name, but like the really short war that happened at the beginning. Post that, I don't think it wasn't too bad of a situation. If they just stuck to the lands that they had then, it probably would have been a bit more of a calm situation. But since like the slow encroach of the borders over more and more territory, it's like, yeah, it's not great. And especially like recently, there's the reason. One of the reasons why tensions are so high at the minute is because there's a bunch of Jewish landowners that got given the rights to certain land that has Palestinian people living on it. They've sold the rights to the land to like American companies who are now they're now like fighting court battles and shit to evict tenants so that they can renovate, I guess, and sell these to nice Jewish people, which then in turn lets them change the demographics in those regions and then have it majority Jewish. So it's kind of a big frustrating time. I personally don't believe in God. I think religion is a disease of the world, but you start faith because you start faith and something completely subjective, open to interpretation. Yeah, Judaism itself isn't actually that bad of a religion, I think. It's just that the project of Zion is like a really of building Zion is like quite a frustrating idea from my perspective, because it required ordinarily like to destroy people's lives, right? So if it's like if religion doesn't touch other people and you can practice with yourself and do aid and help your community keep cohesion, then I don't think religion is that bad of an idea. But yeah, these Zionists, man, wild. I don't know whether there's like many Jews left in the Jiao. Something I should check. I imagine that it ended up being majority Russian post 48. I wonder if it's still called the Jiao. You know, did they? Let me check, because there was like it led to a bunch of controversy. The Jiao, Jewish Autonomous Oblast. Because it led to a bunch of controversy in modern times, because there's like this whole thing about like in Soviet Russia, you had passports that read Jewish or Russian. You could choose between the two. But it's like often told as if it was forced on Jews. But no, it meant that you could choose to have special rights to go and live and emigrate into these sorts of places. Wow. The Zhao basically has no Jews in anymore. It's less than 2% now. Wild. The 2010 census report that the largest group is now ethnic Russians at 93%. Whew. Ethnic Ukrainians 3%, and ethnic Jews at 1%. Good God. Yeah, a failed project, wow. It's still got Jewish in its name. Wild. It's also got a rainbow for its flag, which is pretty fun, but that's like such an aside to everything. But yeah, I feel like it's one of those things that it's a war that has already been won. It was won like decades ago. And like really we're just seeing how it's going to end now. Which is like, it just sucks. Like, I don't think that there will be much Palestine left at all. I think Palestinians will be displaced people fully. I don't think there'll be many people who are Arab or Palestinian or identifying as Palestinian in Israel anymore. And Israel will probably get proper country status. This is hard for me to discuss because both sides of my family are religious, so I grew up with these things they call values. Yeah, I mean, when I talk about religion, I'm usually talking about it as like a social phenomenon that, like, I see at scale. I don't really see it at like individual levels, because I feel like those things can vary greatly. Because obviously everybody has their interpretations of it, and although there are things that pass through families and generations, and the clergy, or the equivalent to clergy, like the institution itself, but for the most part, yeah, organized religion is shit. But there are some religions or organizations that are surrounded, that are like doused in faith, that seem to be all right. Like, I've not seen much problems with the Friends of the, is it Friends of Humanity? What are they called? Like the Friendship Association. I can't think of what their normal name is, because once I learned that their like official name is like the Friendship something. What are they called? They're not really like. Simple example, in Brazil, Protestants, drug dealers killing Christians, or Banda followers in the name of God. Yeah, but I mean, people use shit to justify killing people and animals all the time. It's not like I'm not sure that religion going away will stop that, because people will probably find other things to do it with. I mean, it might help to an extent, but I think it's more like the values in which the community instills in people, because you can be religious and a super nice person, and not be like racist, and not be like subjugating others. So it can't be like inherent to religion. What are they called? I'm just gonna search Friendship Association. I think it's Friendship Association. No. Maybe. No. Oh, it just brings up the KFA, the Korean Friendship Association. That's so funny. Friendship. Friends. I'm gonna search Friends of the Earth. No, that's not right. Christian offshoot. UK. 50s? No, 1850s. I think it was the 1850s that. Let's see if we can find it. The bottom line is probably the same God or same energy of faith, yeah. Yeah, pretty much. I don't like that in religions we this and only this way, because reasons I find novelish poems. Yeah. I have some faith. I need something. I just stay away from extremists that ruin my heart. Yeah, so because that's the thing. People find values in songs and in movies, and I don't think that religion itself. Because like if you formed a fan club that like was around a piece of media, and then all the people in the fan club had a bunch of values that they all agreed upon. Like codifying that into an organization isn't inherently like a bad thing. It's the values that you pick and the values you perpetuate that obviously isn't good. And it's just we've seen these bits of these texts develop over thousands of years, so they just become somewhat larger than life. Like if we lost the ability to watch movies and then people formed fan clubs trying to remember the good old days about Marvel movies, and then like produced a organization around that, we would probably see in a few thousand years something similar. It'd be like warring factions between DC and Marvel, despite the fact that a lot of the writers of both are the same people. Am I going to be able to figure this out? They literally have like a huge building in the middle of London, and I forget. It's just gone out of my mind the like common used name of this sect of Christianity, which is like it's non-hierarchical, or at least less hierarchical than oh, I know. There's a local meeting house just down the road from me. I'll just check it up on the maps, and then I'll find it out. I'll go to their website. I'll sort out one. Oh my god, what's happened? Why is my map? Okay. Okay, I think it's on this road. Okay, that's just a church. Ah, yes, the Quakers. But the what's this? Those ruin my heart. Every time I let them in, I let shame and guilt with them. Core of religion, not all of them, is always a conservative one. I think this preservation of words written years ago, twisted and transformed for your own opinions, that's bad. I'm inclined to agree, but I don't know how I can make that argument
at the same time as thinking that democracy itself isn't bad, because democracy itself is meant to be a preservation of ideas over time, but also like an adjustment. So maybe with the adjustment aspect of it, because I think that in actuality, like you want to conserve, like you want to have some sort of permanence between governments. You don't want complete, switch. Otherwise, it's not democracy. Presumably not democracy. But yeah, Quakers, Christian sect, also called Friends, Religious Society of Friends. That's it. Oh, formally, also set of denominations knowing formally. Okay, formally, not formally. Such a close words. Yeah, the Quakers, they seem alright. Have they got a controversy section on their Wikipedia page? Doesn't seem it. Theology conservatives. I don't know. I think religion needs a 2.0 version. Yeah, maybe. Religion 2.0. It is a little bit buggy. There are some. So the thing is, I think that we're always in a constant process of redefining like the Immortality Project, and that's like really what religion is. It's just like a form of the Immortality Project. Which if you listen to my recording or read a copy of the Immortalist, it's like definitely like lays it all out properly. In that like faith and fame and the only real drive that we have is to either live forever or pretend that we're going to live forever. And religion does a pretty decent job of convincing people that they're going to live forever, either in one form of doing like actually living on in a different plane, or like making an impact so that it's better for the people who come after, or for yourself in another form. So you have like the reincarnation strand of the first one, which is also kind of, it's like the blurred line between the two, right? Preparing the next generation of people is also preparing the future versions of yourself for it when it's a reincarnation myth. I think we need to rewrite all the base, start from scratch, doing focus groups. Yeah, I think we're always doing it though. I don't think that there's necessarily I don't think that we need to start that. I think we need to continue it, because I think the idea of an organization that has like values that are abstracted away from like the core reasoning is not a bad one, to be honest, because like we do it with education too, in like schools where you don't get taught how people necessarily came to these conclusions about like science and maths and stuff. You just need to know the rules and then apply them. So I don't think there's anything necessarily wrong with encoding information into like abstract values and stuff. The problem comes with like the interpretation, right? Where do you draw the line between like how much acceptable information about how people came to those conclusions can you afford to lose before the actual like use value of some statements and values go away? So yeah, I quite like the Friends. The Quakers. The Quakers seem pretty cool. I've been meaning to go along and spend some time there, but then the pandemic happened. But as far as like religious groups go, they seem pretty chill. but they're not really the same sort of like organized religion as like you usually come across. Because I mean, equal funding between men and women, acceptance of homosexuality and queer people in general, I guess. I don't know about their ideas on trans folks. I have not actually heard, or at least if I have heard, it's like it's tipped through. Don't let someone steal you. We need you. You too. Yeah, no, I'm not gonna go away. I'm good. I'm having a good old time. They would be coming here. I mean, I would go and attend their like meetings and stuff, but I would be bringing their stuff into my practice, not me switching practices to that. I'm pretty stern on my beliefs. But these people seem to like align with it quite strongly. So, in the past, Quakers were known for their use of the as an ordinary pronoun, spelled Thee. Beautiful. And then refusal to participate in war, plain dress, refusal to swear oaths, opposition to slavery, and teetotalism. Some Quakers founded banks and financial institutions, including Barclays, Lloyds, Friends of the Provident, manufacturing companies, including shoe retailer C.J. and Clark, and 3 British confectionery makers, Cadbury, Rowntree, and Fry, and philanthropic efforts, including abolition of slavery, prison reform, and social justice projects. In 1947, the Quakers, represented by the British Friends Service Council and the American Friends Service Committee, were awarded the Nobel Peace Prize. Yep, Thee, which is like a religious pronoun. It's weird because pronouns, when we talk about them today, are like exclusively like an individualist like expression about like sexuality and gender orientation. But in the past, it also had so many other uses, and there are still some places in English that the pronouns aren't attached to gender and sexual identity, but to other forms of identity too. And like that's like one of the big frustrations that I have about people's like annoyance with neopronouns. It's that it's not actually like that. Like in terms of English history, like it doesn't actually seem that big of a deal to have non-gender and sexuality related pronouns. But yeah, I'm like not going to get down that road. That's like, because it's a pointless exercise now. Because I think that universally people just do not like, well, apart from like the youngest generation, it might be useful to do in like a decade or so to have that discussion about like neopronouns. But right now, there's like much bigger things to be arguing about. And I can just be like, I'll like passively defend people using neopronouns. But yeah, it's yeah, that's my thoughts. The Friendships organization seems to be pretty cool though. Friendship Council, Friendship whatever. The Friends, I like them. It's crazy how much like I was never taught about them, but yet they've had such an obvious like big impact on British culture. And I just know them as like the weird Christian sect, right? We say / write you as you or they as they for people we respect. I don't follow what the comment is about. Sorry. Yeah, I guess. Oh, I think I understand what you mean. Yeah, that's kind of like what replaced. Well, I mean, it sort of adopted the usage from the religious thou. But thou just sort of like disappeared its like relevance throughout time. Like I feel like it is only used as like a ye olde English thing, which is stupid because that letter that where like we say is a Y when we're typing ye is not actually it's a thorn, right? So it would just be the Old English, and because also e's at the end of words sometimes would silent. So yeah, different usage of but people just don't think of that. They think of it as like closer to grammar, with the you and they stuff, and I as well, and we. They're all like, I think people like more associate that with just closer to like symbology and like grammar than she and he, which are like signifiers and extensions of names, which is why probably people think of neopronouns as being nicknames and just weird nicknames, but that's not. They're like it's a different it's a different like form of naming. Like it's like a label, like doctor as well is not really a pronoun. It's an honorific, but it's not like a name. Doctor isn't a name in and of itself. It's an honorific that you use to refer to people in the same kind of way as you do with pronouns, but they don't operate like nicknames. I mean, you could probably have doctor as a nickname, but for the most part, I would say that doctor is used in a completely different way from nicknames. But it's a signifier that like gives a certain role and relation to society in the same way that pronouns are. Like you don't have like an honorific for like mechanic, and you wouldn't refer to somebody as mechanic, right? Hey, mechanic over here. That would be very weird. It's like dehumanizing. But doctor, you can do that with doctor. So it is a little bit closer to nicknames, but it's not really. It's like different. It's like a different subset, and I think that we have this like weird cultural thing right now where we're just collapsing words into each other. So like like a word might take on many uses now, especially with meme culture. Like the use and reuse of words is like wild. It like reminds me of like folk languages and shit, where you'll have one word and it'll mean like 10 different things, entirely dependent on context and who you're talking to. But yeah, we had a nice time at one point. Well, where words weren't as dynamic as they are now. Which, I mean, having a hugely diverse meaning set to a given word is like quite nice for poetry and art and stuff, but for actually like communicating to people, definitely not that great. I would prefer to have many individual words for it rather than one word that meant 100 things. Especially if it's vague, for the context as well. What the heck mean new or whatever it is? What does it express as? Oh, KKEW. What, like KEKW? I think because kek is like, I'm pretty sure it's like a bastardization of a slur for Jewish people. I think. Let me look this up. But I think the etymology is that it's a bastardization of a slur for Jewish people, which then was adopted by wider internet culture devoid of this past idea, and then combined with W, probably for the same reasons that you have like Squad W and stuff, where it's like a women's thing, and then it probably lost that context into being just like a pure laugh. but I'll quickly look it up. Is a transliteration of the acronym LOL. Okay. Why? How? How did that get transliterated? It's the Korean approximation of what? Wow for laughter. So it's a World of Warcraft speak, but this doesn't track in my mind. This doesn't seem like it grew out of WoW. That doesn't make sense. It's such a small that's such a small community compared to the rest of internet culture that like I don't think that you would birth it from that. It makes much more sense that it comes from 4chan or some such site. What? Because it looks like the frog god. I'm not sure that's why it caught on either. Okay, so apparently it's because it looks like some Egyptian god. But it apparently comes from from 4chan and like the Pepe thing, but then it also sounds like kind of like lol in Korean. But then there was also this thing in World of Warcraft that had it, so maybe it's just like a bunch of stuff that stuck together and people went with. So it's actually like a muted laugh. Interesting. See, I was under the impression that it was once a racist thing. But I can't think of what the actual slur is. So I'm just going to search up Jewish slurs. Yeah. Okay, I was right. I'm not going to say it, but there is like a slur for Jewish people that is the same as this, and I was under the impression that Kek had like developed out of this and its usage on 4chan. So maybe it's just that there was like an abundance of things that were very very close to this, or even like fitting with Kek. But like specifically Kek W, that's an interesting one. Is it literally just because of the emote? But why the W? The W portion of the name is inspired by the W facial expression that's often used in... Ah, okay. So the W is just because of that face, right? That face with the lines. Crazy. So much history into one internet term. And obviously the dude is doing like a muted laugh too. So yeah, that makes sense. If you accept that Kek is like the muted laugh sound from Korea. Interesting. Also, the Pog term, that's player of the game, right? Player of the game, or Pog, and then PogChamp would be the Player of the Gaming Championship, something like that. Pog comes from PogChamp. So Pog is from PogChamp. Pog would be Player of the Game. PogChamps are the people who champion plays of the game. They are referred to someone who is good at the game, and they're so good at the game that they always get Pog, the play of the game. So yeah, PogChamp is somebody who gets the play of the game a lot. But Sag, oh my god, what a crazy term to see written out. Amazing. Yeah, PogChamp isn't that bad. I think it's kind of frustrating that the guy who was used as that emote was a bit whew. But yeah, that's like a Twitch user thing. I don't think that's like a common usage. Same with KickW, is they're both KickW and PogChamp are both like new terms used by predominantly like online streamers. So I'm not sure that it's like a super common usage thing. It might enter common parlance though. It wouldn't surprise me if Pog did. KickW would be a bit of a harder thing to sell, I think. After refusing to cover a hard melody on my guitar, I was told Pogant was a GIF. I was so pissed because I know it's like, oh, not play of the game. It's such a weird to like do the negative term, like to negatively modify Pog is like such a weird idea to me. Like anti-Pog, that's not like, because you would say like not Pog. Pogant is like such a weird way to modify him. Play of the game and not yesn't. Exactly, right? Or couldn't. To say something is bad. Weird. I love it though. Maybe we need to do more of that. We need to do our worstest. Worstentinst. That would be spelled worstest. Worstentist. Worstentist. Instead of best. Or actually, it wouldn't be it wouldn't be the best. It would be the most. I don't even know how to put that into words properly. So what would it be? It would be like the opposite. So it's something that isn't worse. So like you start off with worst, and you say not this, because it's not worst. Not worst, but the most not worst thing. The worstentist. Because like the best isn't necessarily not the most not worst, I would assume. Especially in a situation where there isn't many options. Because sometimes the best is also the worst decision. If you've only got one decision, then it's the best and the worst at the same time. But if you have the least most worst situation in that, it would be anything but the option that you have, which wouldn't be the best option, because the best option is something that you need to have. Whereas you can theorize about having the not worstest Westernist. What a weird term. Fun. We're making English words here. It's such a weird way to think. It's like I sometimes get thoughts about how, because veganism is a philosophy and not a diet, and although the philosophy can be applied to a diet, it's not necessarily a diet, but it's more than that. It's a philosophy that informs a diet, the diet being plant-based. You have usually plant-based, but because of the way that veganism is defined, in that it's like you avoid exploitation of animals as far as practicable, which means as far as you can personally practice. And like it's like a constant trying to do better at doing that. But the common usage of vegan just means that you like eat without meat and animal products. But it actually like goes beyond that, in that you would have to include things like avoiding palm oil, or avoid like not having clothing that has animal products in it, or impacts animal populations beyond what you can already avoid. So like if everything had palm oil in it, it would become vegan because you couldn't avoid it. That makes sense. And if everything had milk in it, milk inside of products would be vegan then, because it's as far as practicable. But then it like makes these really weird situations where like, because vegetarianism is a diet, there isn't really much philosophy to it. It's like a diet and like consumer choice stuff, like the BDS movement, right? To then get back to Israel, like there are very obvious lines where you can draw that, and those lines don't move, because it's about avoiding animal products or avoiding things from the state of Israel, right? So you have with veganism though, because it's like it's like a way of reasoning about whether something is okay to consume based on what is available to you, then there are times where something is vegan but not vegetarian. Like what if like medication that has gelatin in it, for instance, would be vegan but not vegetarian if there was no other alternatives that you could take, because you still have to like look after yourself. You can't just avoid having, vital medication, but it wouldn't be vegetarian because it's got gelatin in it. And then things like the classic thing that's brought up to most vegans, I don't know whether it is so much now these days, but when I went vegan, this desert island idea, like you're stranded on a desert island and you've got some pigs, what would you would you just not eat the pigs? And like, well, however the answer should be really that like, well, I'll just eat whatever the pigs are eating because the pigs have survived here, so I can probably survive here with that. But actually, if you had been stranded there with pigs, and the pigs hadn't been living there to begin with, then yes, it would be vegan to eat those pigs, of course, but it wouldn't be vegetarian, because vegetarianism is about avoiding eating animals, whereas not avoiding eating animals, it's just not eating animals. Whereas best efforts to avoid eating animals is a vegan thing, not a vegetarian thing. It's such a weird quality that it has, that like when you actually think about these philosophies, it does that. I have a discussion with my vegan friends about eggs. Yeah, the eggs thing is like a weird one because I can understand. Yeah, it's not having anything coming from animals, but the veganism of the philosophy is cruelty-free. Yes, so actually, it is the cruelty-free option, right? It's to avoid exploitation of animals. So eating eggs, as long as you haven't raised those for specifically the purpose of getting eggs, or even having like companionship or something like that, you don't have ownership over these animals, and those eggs are left unattended and not used, then you can eat it. Same as like roadkill. Roadkill would be vegan but not vegetarian. because it's not leading to exploitation of animals in any discernible way. So there's like lots of these like weird edge things with veganism as a philosophy that don't make sense through the common understanding. And I say common as in it's like commonly codified in English as being avoiding of eating animals and animal products, especially if your chicken and eggs are not fertilized. Like, yeah, usually the chickens in nature, if they don't get fertilized, if the eggs don't get fertilized, they will just eat the eggs, which is a bit weird from our perspective, but from my understanding is that they eat the eggs themselves. So you can't just take it. You can't just take it. It has to be left unused, because it could be seen as stealing the food of another animal, unneeded food from another animal, or needed food from another animal. Even it would be taking food that is for another animal, and therefore exploiting your power over this animal to get food. Very weird to think about. Eating non-fertilized eggs is vegan but not vegetarian. It is in certain circumstances, but not in general. I would say the most common finding of eggs is not vegan, because there's so many factors that would have to go into it. Like, to me, it's not even worth considering it. The same as like honey, right? Honey is like a weird one too, because it's like they do, as far as I'm aware, bees do make honey in surplus, but in order to like make it not exploitation, it would have to be like like the line there, in order to like farm it but not farm it, and only from wild bees, and then making that judgment about it, it's just like there's no point. And then that's not even like approaching like the even more gray area stuff like figs. Like figs like require the deaths of wasps in order to be produced. So you can't like, and figs, like people don't even think about figs as being vegan or vegetarian. Like there's no like there's no discourse around figs as far as I'm aware. But like it requires the death of a wasp, but it's part of this like full cycle. So like whether it's exploitation or not is another thing. Yeah, I don't know about that. Yeah, figs are like a weird one, because there's like this specific type of wasp that like basically to pollinate the figs has to fly inside and they can't get back out, so it dies. So like figs have wasps in them. It's fucking wild. Nature is nuts. How that sort of weird symbiotic relationship must have developed is like beyond me. But yeah, in order for like the life cycle for both fig wasps and figs to survive, they have to do this weird like sacrifice. There's lots of weird shit like that in the animal kingdom. But that's definitely one of like the weirder things. I just wouldn't touch it. I think like I fall on the side of figs being vegan. Ooh. Yeah, I fall on the side of figs being vegan. Plainly because like I feel like any wasp that flies inside of a fig is probably consenting. Nature for me is more God than God itself, if there is a God. Yeah, I understand that. I can't even imagine the design of that, you know? Like who would go out their way to produce something that's so fucking wild as like flying inside of some flower and then dying in order to like produce some fruit. So wild. But honey is like the popular one. I think that's like the weirdest, the line that I think people draw it at. Eggs tend to be thought of as not vegan. Milk is like obviously not vegan. Gelatin is obviously not vegan. Meat definitely not vegan. But people don't think about like the edge cases to those things, like roadkill, or just like naturally dying animals too. I think it's a bit gross to eat flesh, but I don't know whether it's not vegan if something dies of age to eat that. I sort of started building an auto honey machine that the beekeepers are mad with. Auto honey machine. That's like the most Silicon Valley sounding bastardization of nature. Automation, but for bees. the IoT of bees. Christ alive. I mean, I'm like definitely like an obvious result of the Anthropocene, but like I'm not gonna say that that's like a natural thing to do of us to like try to automate bees. You know, I feel like bees you should have like a relationship with, not like fuck around with, not like completely like turn it into a machine. Do it with the trees instead, because we've done that for thousands of years, tapping trees for to get sap. Here I'm seeing a lot of dead bees in my yard. That's a shame. I know that there's like a bunch of viruses going around for them and like mites and shit. But like, yeah, the death of the bees doesn't seem like as big of a. I mean, it's a big deal. I think they like pollinate 20% of like all plants on the earth, but like it's only 20%, right? Like we're fucking things on a grander scale and other things too, like much bigger than the death of bees. And I don't know whether it's a sign of the world ending if you see lots of dead bees. It might just be a localized like colony collapse, rather than like a worldwide thing. Oh my god, throat's so tingly today. God, I've been vegan for a while, haven't I? Has it been 6 or 7 years now? I think it's been like 6 years. It might actually be the 7th year this year. I've been vegan for a while. I don't really care. It doesn't really affect my life too much. It's like an easy option at this point. I just do my thing, judge everything that comes into my hands, and make the choice based on that. But yeah, bees, sad time. And I try to beat myself up over things when I buy something with animal products in by accident. I'm just like, well, I'll eat it, and then continue on. I'm constantly trying to eat less meat. I think that it's like you get to like a critical mass of understanding about nutrition and about your morals around exploitation of animals, and then it you break out of that cycle. Then you find like new patterns of behavior to act in, and then you just fall back to those. Because yeah, it's like cheese and like fast food are the two things that people tend to like. Cheese, fast food, various snacks like chocolate. Those things are the things that people tend to say that if it wasn't for this, I would be vegan. And my answer to that is just find something that has the same the same qualities to it. It's not like rocket science, but it is like a very hard thing to get over in your mind, I think, for a lot of people. For me, it was like kind of an obvious task because like I already knew all of the foods that I could have, but I just didn't have like the moral understanding of it. I didn't like properly believe in the morals, so I couldn't make the jump because I was like, well, what's the need really? Like I don't see animals as being equal to humans. I still don't see animals as being equal to humans, but I now don't think that I should exploit them. That's my that's my main thing. That was my like reconciliation to it. I watched a movie called Unity, which actually will tell me how long I've been vegan because it was the day of that release. Because I went to see it in the cinemas. I was one of like 12 people in the cinema. 2015. So it's been 6 years this year. Amazing. That was the movie that I saw, Unity, and it was intense, but it was like more about the philosophy behind things than. It's not equally as hard as stopping smoking. I found it's hard to make the switch to fight these urges. Yeah, stopping smoking is like super hard. Nicotine addiction is like ridiculous. It was definitely easier for me to switch to being vegan. The main thing is the nutrition stuff because you always get because with like the social aspect of it, you get like this constant questioning of whether you're eating enough of a certain thing, and you always feel like ridiculous if you don't have the answer to those things, even though you might know it. You know, like you have to have these certain types of foods and do these things. You don't have like the right terminology and you don't have the right like answer for it. So it's hard to defend your beliefs, and then you're more likely to cave for it. I feel like there's like this admission of weakness that happens with both caving into cravings of something like nicotine as being the caving into social pressures around non-vegan foods, and that at some point you have enough of a mental fortitude against it that you just do it. You just go, no, this is it. I've drawn the line in the sand. And then every time you go over it, you go, well, that was a mistake, but I'm going to get back to it. And I think it's much easier when you have something, when you know what you're replacing it with, and you have the answers to the questions that people ask. Whereas you can't really do that with cigarettes. You can have like cessation, and you can kind of like have you can kind of back it up with like, oh, it is a bad thing to do because of these X, Y, and Z health problems. Because I know in my mind, both things are not for me, but it's been so long that it's hard to make the switch and keep it going. Yeah, there's like that admission of defeat. Like I have like saying, well, I've done it for so long, and I've been all right so far. You know, like I'm used to it, so I can't switch. But then, yeah, there's like if someone like has been smoking for like 40 years and then like has like some problem with their lungs and they get hospitalized afterwards, they might be like, well, no, I can't keep smoking with this shit. I need to get like, and that's like the reset moment. People like have this like backing up where they can go like, no, I have to persevere through this. But you have to have that reasoning properly. Otherwise, you'll be like, well, it's not that bad. I've been dealing with it for quite a while. And it is a bit the same with veganism too. Like, well, I don't actually see the suffering of these animals and stuff. So why do I care? And really, yeah, you need to have that backing to it. Otherwise, it's completely like an optics thing, unless like you're doing it for health reasons. But then even that, so like there'll still be times where you won't feel as strongly to avoid comfort foods and trying things that just sound interesting. You have to have the philosophy to back it up, otherwise or the ideology even, to back it up and stop it. That's it. For example, I don't like to eat food with the head, like a pig or a fish. Yeah, I can understand that. I think it's just gross now. Like, it's been so long since I've had meat that I'm like, it's just kind of gross, the idea of like eating flesh. Something that had like blood pumping through it. Like, what? Weird. A bunch of weirdos. But that's not to say that I think that like animals are on the same level as humans, because yeah, we have like a high quantity of features that are not found in any specific. They aren't found as a collection in many other animals. Although most of the things that our species does can be found in other animals, like invention of language, usage of tools, exploitation of like natural forces in order for transportation, things like that. There's like I find it hard to pin down. Like a global information network is kind of like a hard one that like I feel like humans are like use, like especially. But then again, I guess birds kind of do that. It's not quite global, but birds and insects tend to like migrate, which is kind of like that, a global information network. But it's like obviously not as advanced. But in terms of like the fundamental things that our species does compared to other species, there's not really a lot that we do that's particularly unique. It's more the combination of those things that are like, for instance, like meerkats have language, but I don't think that they use tools to transport themselves around, nor do they have like a global information network. But bees, for instance, have like ways of communicating distance through voice and like directions, and like utilizing like producing structures to live in. That's what I'm trying to think of. But they don't have well, bees are pretty advanced actually when I think about it, but I'm pretty sure there'll be things that bees don't have that we have. Passing of knowledge. They have transport. Again, yeah, I guess transport using natural forces they don't really have. Bigger is easier because it doesn't look like an animal. Yeah, it's so abstracted away from what it was. So funny. I saw like this packet that said like a flexitarian burger. It was like marketing itself as like 50% plant-based, which is like ridiculous. Because firstly, burgers not always are 100% meat anyway. They've never really been 100% meat. And secondly, that's such a weird co-opting of plant-based and veganism and stuff. Like it's green politics. Like it just seemed like a rebranded regular burger to me. Because like cheap burgers generally have stuff mixed into them anyway, and even expensive ones do. Like a burger doesn't have to be like most burgers. I would say probably are flexitarian because they're not all 100% meat. Such a weird way of defining it. I was watching yesterday Love, Death and Robots, and the last episode is so damn awesome. The Drowned Giant, it makes a great parallel for us being animals. Yeah, I did start watching the first season of it. I got bored though. It was I know they're really short, but I got so bored really quickly. It was like, I don't know why I got so bored. I was just like, this is just not my sort of thing. I think it's just like non-serialized sci-fi is just not my sort of deal, especially if it's short. Like I watched is it not Forbidden Planet? Maybe it is Forbidden Planet. Um, maybe I don't know. Can't remember. But it was like the big blue people, not Avatar. The animation, the drawn animation, which is like nice and musical. It's by a French director. And it's got these big blue people who like meditate, and then they fuck in giant statues, and the humans are around. They're named Terrans in the movie, uh, and that was real fun. I really enjoyed that. That was a really good movie. Yeah, I can't think of what it's called though. Um, the something planet, I think. So good though. I've got some messages. Let me have a quick check. Okay, I need to respond to that later. Yes, The Savage Planet is what the English title is called. Fantastic Planet. Sauvage. No, the Fantastic Planet, yeah. So I wasn't too far off, was I? Forbidden. Has the same letters. Sauvage. Salvage. Which I think that is right. That's fantastic, not savage. Oh wait, no, fantastique, right? I don't know. I don't know. Is that a correct translation to English? Being the fantastic planet, the planet's sauvage, planet sauvage. No, you're French, right? I think. I don't know. I can't remember. My brain is a bit fried. Ugh. I should probably walk around a little bit. I've been sitting here for nearly 2 hours. Actually, yeah, I'm gonna get a drink and use that as an opportunity to stretch my legs. Can I hit the be right back? Is that gonna? Oh, it's dropping frames. Okay, fine. Come on. No. Oh yeah, because this hasn't got overlay. Okay, let me just plonk a text. Be right back. Okay, there we go, and then S. There we go. Look at that. Beautiful. Okay, I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go stretch my legs. Okay, I guess I'll just turn that off there. So got an hour left. An hour and 20. We're over halfway now. What a nice day. It's been like a pretty chill day. You know what? I think I'll go after this. When does the supermarket close? Because I fancy some lentil chips. Ooh, no, I know exactly what I want. I hope they're open. I think because it's a Sunday, it closes quite early, like a ridiculous time, because Sunday trading laws from like 1700s. It closes in 10 minutes. Oh yeah, because it's continuous. Yeah, it's probably bigger than. Okay, well maybe I'll be able to get some from one of the smaller shops. There's like these specific crisps that are like thick and crunchy. I can't think of what they're made out of. I think they're like cold flour. Welcome back. They're like croissants, but not croissants. Croutons. Crutini. I'm not Italian. Croutons that are squished into like quaver shapes, which is like a torus, like a donut, that's hollowed out and broken into parts. I don't know how else to describe it. Well, no, I mean, I'll be able to work out some way to describe it. It's like a tube that's curved, but like split down its length and then into chunks. Yeah, that's probably a decent enough way to describe it. But they're like crisp. They're real nice and thick. And very Moorish. And very crunchy. I'm gonna check on my crypto. I got back into that cryptocurrency stuff 2 months ago now. And I've been enjoying the show, so to speak, recently. Been enjoying trading things back and forth. Bitcoin and Doge, neither. Okay, I'll leave last hour for tonight. I have to watch I Pray for Sleep. If Steffi joins or anyone, say, okay, yeah, we'll let them know. No, I've avoided Bitcoin and Doge. Right now I have some Stellar Lumens, Tezos, Cosmos, and Day. Because right now the market is down, but it was up earlier, so I transferred a bunch of stuff into Day, which is like a stable coin, a staking US dollar stable coin, which I use as like the intermediary. And when things are high, I trade into DAI, whatever, DAI. And then I trade out of it when the market is low. Which is a bit risky, but it's always I'm slowly but surely compounding things. Especially if you move enough that like fluctuations in the market don't like approach the amount that costs in transaction fees. Any GameStop stocks? No, I'm not doing stocks. Mostly because the on and off ramps are just too ridiculous to me. And also I just don't like those markets. I don't have as much history in understanding, whereas I've been into cryptocurrency on and off since 2011, 2012. So at least a decade at this point. I found a Facebook post the other day that was celebrating. That was me celebrating Bitcoin reaching £20, which was really funny. And then all like the weird Bitcoin propaganda that people were making at the time, where it's like, we're going to take on the banks, and it was like reaching an all-time high of £20. It was great. And you used to have to get some, you'd either have to buy some from somebody that you knew that was mining it, because ASICs weren't even a thing back then. You'd either have to buy some from somebody who was mining it already, or you would mine it yourself, or you would have to like buy it shadily online by trading Amazon gift cards and Starbucks gift cards and shit like that. And that was the way that you would off-ramp it to online, would be like trading gift cards. People still mining. I don't think many people mine individually anymore. It's mostly either in pools or it's big mining farms for Bitcoin, especially because ASICs are a thing for that. The purpose-built circuits that are really good at like doing hashes. So you have purpose-built Bitcoin mining cards. Ethereum is a bit more of a complicated algorithm, so that's all done on GPUs or GPUs, general purpose graphics processing units, because they can do matrix maths pretty good. So people use graphics cards and stuff to mine Ethereum, but that's still it's almost all done in big mining farms. So it's done by organizations rather than by mining pools. So I think mining pools still exist and still do a big chunk of mining within cryptocurrency, but for the most part, I think it's done by organizations now. But back when I was involved, you could still, like, I probably mined some on CPUs. Like, I was part of a mining pool back in the day, mining on just my desktop computer using a CPU, not even like one was like a decent graphics card, just like straight up just mining on the CPU. Because back then it was still, you could still make some Bitcoin from mining with CPUs, which is like insane. Like, we're so far beyond what that was. It's so ridiculous. The landscape these days compared to what it was then. Like, I don't even think there was any sort of decent build process for the Bitcoin mining clients at the time, like to actually mine stuff. So you would either have to compile it yourself or use a potentially outdated binary for the different mining softwares. There wasn't like one that everybody used. There was still like 5 or 6 back then. I don't know whether it's still as diverse as it was back then, because there's literally no need for me to research mining Bitcoin. I assume that by now it's probably coalesced into maybe 2. One that's like done locally, and one that's done for all GPUs attached to your system, and one for doing like mining pool stuff. That's what I would assume the situation has turned to. But I have literally no need to go look. And there wasn't web wallets back then either. It was all local stuff. So you have to sit and download the entire blockchain to your desktop or phone to to understand how much you had. You could generate wallets, but you couldn't see history unless you downloaded the whole chain. There was like blockchain explorer stuff that you could look at, but it was like super rudimentary back then. Back when I got involved in it, and people were comparing it to Linden bucks, which is like no one knows what Linden bucks are. I think they're called Linden bucks, the currency of Second Life. It's wild. It's wild to think that. Like, people were comparing it to World of Warcraft Gold and Linden bucks, which are like completely different from the way that Bitcoin operates. Like, at least when the discourse changed to it being like, it's like digital gold, that like makes a little bit more sense. But now now the sort of analogy is sort of fallen away now that people kind of know a bit more about how it works. It's so funny. Downloading gigabytes eternally sinking. Yeah, you just leave the wallet open so that you would always be up to date. Oh, those were the days. Back when a regular person could buy a Bitcoin. When I think about how much Bitcoin passed through my hand, I'd like to. I get a bit antsy about it. now with its current value, at like nearly 50 grand or something. I think it's like 42 or something was like where it was at today. No, 33, but all-time high. £47,000. Jeez. Nuts. Absolutely nuts. That's such a huge jump over the past year. Holy shit. Yeah, 330% rise over the past year. Whew. What scales, eh? But yeah, I'm not into Bitcoin at the minute. I don't think I will be anytime soon, unless I want to pay for a lot. In which case, I'll transfer some other currency into it, and then just deposit from there. But I'm waiting to see what happens first before I throw some money into Lot's eternal wallet. I don't like to think I lost the hype. I never had any though. I imagine people who sold or lost the pass or wallet. Yeah, because I lost access to a wallet that had 2 Bitcoin in. Like, God, it'll be a while ago now. 6 years, 5 or 6 years ago. So it was worth quite a bit back then, but now it's worth like, 100 grand, right? And it wasn't just like a loss of the password. It was like I had a wallet on my phone, and I thought I had the mnemonic backed up, and that had the balance in the moment because I was using it essentially, and then I reset my phone and tried to restore the wallet, and there wasn't anything in it because it wasn't that mnemonic. Potentially I still have that mnemonic somewhere. And every time I find a stowed away mnemonic, I check it. But for all intents and purposes, I've lost that. That's gone. I don't even think about it now. I'll try not to think about it anyway. It's just whenever I talk about specifically this situation, I get the same feeling of the guy who always trying the lottery and then the same numbers, and then the day they didn't gamble, the numbers came out. Yeah, it does feel a bit like that. But I think it's different in this case because lottery is like a complete luck-based thing, whereas with investing and markets and stuff, there is like an element of prediction to it. There's like, you can see trends and things like that, whereas with lotteries, it's like straight up just random. They're like, the trends that exist are purely just like your brain making patterns where there is just noise. No decent way to parse out trends, but with cryptocurrency and stock market and stuff, it's kind of linked to a real world processes, and you can make decent predictions about things. At least I feel like I haven't lost any money on cryptocurrencies, so I've lost cryptocurrency, but I haven't lost money on cryptocurrencies, because that was all profit, that 2 Bitcoin. That wasn't I didn't buy in at like a huge number. And I definitely got my money's worth out of Bitcoin as it went in. Looks like Stellar is still on the way back down, because it peaked this morning at 57 pence per, and it's down at 52 now. It sold a bunch of it at its peak, and I'm just waiting to buy it back at the minute. See how much I'll get back if I do now. It's probably not a good time to do it, but it's always worth to check to see how much transaction fees and stuff are at the minute. I don't know whether it actually changes that much for lumens, for Stellar. I imagine not. Okay, I'm gonna wait a little bit longer, because although that is a little bit, I'll just wait. Oh, hi, Steffi. Nada was here earlier and told me to say hi. Should I start in crypto? Crypto is fun. I would say approach it like horse racing or like betting. Don't approach it like a big money making thing. Just approach it as like a sport, like a sport appreciation. I enjoy it like that, because even though I am making some money from it, it's not a lot, but it's also just kind of fun to have that like sportsmanship feeling, like watching like the things that you're watching go up, and then watching, like, being there throughout the downs, that like game of it is really fun. But don't go in expecting that you're gonna like make a shit ton of money, because it does take quite a lot. From my understanding of how other people are using it, it does require quite a lot of reading in order to make money, like real money from it. Real money, like large amounts of money from it. Or you already have to have a shit ton of money in order to make a lot of money from it. And then you probably already know how to do markets and stuff. So, but I enjoy it purely as like a leisure activity at the minute. I'm making more money from doing like arts and like actually my employment. I'm not gonna be able to quit my job anytime soon with it, but I am having a lot of fun moving stuff back and forth. Ooh, that reminds me, I was gonna look at Tether to see if it crashed after the news came out that it was only 2% of the currency was actually backed. Because that could have like, no, it didn't even change. It still, well, it went up. But that might have been a UK US fluctuation. I suppose I could check one of the other ones. Yes, I guess. Check day. No, not really. Interesting. The feeling is more similar to a game rush or that bad. Both. Both. It is. It's like the anticipation and the celebration is both like the anxiety driven for games. It's both. It's so fun. That's what I think. It's like roller coaster. Well, not roller coasters. Roller coasters are a bit different, but I really enjoy it. I really enjoy the ride of it. Being like, should I take my stuff out now? Should I put more in? It's like moving stuff about, moving your bets around. It's like betting on bets. It's fun. I like it. And I feel like I've gotten it down to an art now. Like I'm slowly but surely knowing when to do these things and when I think that things are going to crash. Like I've been pretty decent with my predictions the past week. It's all about like for me it's just all about keeping on top of it and keeping note of where the markets are at. But it's also super distraction. Really don't want to spend too much time with it because I know that it's like probably costing me more money to keep doing it by just like pure like usage of my time than actually the amount of money that I'm earning out of it because of how much it's in it. If I had like 10 times as much money into crypto as I do, then I might be able to justify it a bit more. But as it stands, I can't. I shouldn't justify it with the amount of time that I spend with it. Because when you mix money with that rush, it makes it into hazard. Yeah, that's why you just don't bet with money that you're not prepared to lose. I'm so confused about how stocks work that I doubt I'll ever get into it. Yeah, to be honest, it's just there's much more less risky ways to make money than doing like trading and trading assets. Like approaching it as a sport is much more fun to me than trying to rely on it as some form of income. Like I am prepared to lose this chunk of money. And although it would be really nice to pull all of this money out and use it on something, it's also just really fun to see the number go up. And I don't need it right now. And I don't think it's going to depreciate in so much value that it wouldn't still be useful if I ever did need the money out of it. So that's my 2 cents for it. Like I'm in a pretty stable place for finance right now, which I couldn't say a few years ago, when I was relying on pulling money out of crypto. But now I'm doing all right. I can afford to just treat it as a game rather than as like a last resort savings account. When Bitcoin was introduced, I saw a lot of articles about Tulip Mania. Yeah, it's quite funny to look back on when it's when now it's like 10 times the value of what it was back then in 2016. Yeah, because I think that was 2016 when I saw most of those. Now it's just like an accepted thing. Like people don't say that it's like fake money anymore. It's just like occasionally like the weird institutional banker guy will come out, they'll roll them out, pump them full of gas, and then like be like, Bitcoin hasn't got anywhere, it's got no intrinsic value, which I guess is true, but it's I mean, that could be the same with money, right? Or any other commodity. No, not every commodity, but most like fungible commodities are like that. In Bitcoin, actually, Bitcoin isn't even fungible anymore because of the tracking thing. Because you can see where every Bitcoin has been, even though mixers and stuff exist. It's not really like it's still you can still do like blockchain analysis and figure out where things roughly came from. So some Bitcoin is worth less than other Bitcoins because you can't trade it because it's on block lists and stuff. So it isn't entirely fungible, at least not to certain exchanges. I imagine there's some exchanges that don't block certain Bitcoins, but in which case that's like shady and shitty. Like all of the stuff from the, I think from the Mt. Gox scandal, that's all blocked, and then stuff from Silk Road, the Silk Road wallets is also blocked. And there's probably a couple other places that it is. But Bitcoin is like the least interesting cryptocurrency to me. Ethereum is interesting, and it will become so much more interesting once they switch to proof of stake. But things like Monero is so much more interesting to me, and Stellar is interesting, and Ripple is somewhat interesting, except from the people running it seem to be a bit trying too hard, maybe. Being a bit edgy. Dogecoin, I just don't see ever being actually useful because of the like infinite production thing. And also like, yeah, like I don't know. The transaction fees seem really high. The block sizes are like real small. I just don't know whether it would ever, and they would have to have some pretty major protocol changes to make it work. And it's not proof of stake, so like there's always going to be that green aspect, which will be like like it's already like a branding thing now. Like people prefer proof of stake to proof of work. Stella's still dropping. Apparently it got down to 51. I'm waiting for it to break back below 50 pence. Now buyback, so that'll be roughly 8 or 9% gain in the amount that I took out to how much I'm buying back, because because you have like a 1% difference in both directions from transaction fees, and it'll be roughly 10%. The market should be roughly 10% down, or the price of Stellar to dollars will be roughly 10% down, and then I have the 2-ish% loss from transaction fees, and I should have the same amount of. I should have more Stellar at the end of it, which then once it hits the dollar mark will be even more. I don't think that Stellar will go beyond $1 ever, but I might eat those words. I'm certainly getting out at $1. Which is like 50% growth from where we are now, because I think it's like 70 something cents, I think, in US. Yeah, something like that. So it's a third increase on where we are now. But it like fluctuates like 10 and 15% a day now. So I'm just doing this whole like trading back and forth thing. Biding my time. It's weird because it's not like a 10% increase in value, but it's a 10% increase in assets that I'm getting with these fluctuations. which is such a weird thing to think about. And then plus, because I'm trading into the DAI, the time that I've spent waiting for the market to fall is also staked. So it's like a 2% increase per annum ish. Which is applied like every week or so. So weird to think about how all of this crypto shit works. And now I'm like just intuiting how to operate within these zones. Knowing when the peak seems to be and knowing when the trough seems to be. And as long as I'm not like more than a couple of percent off, I get a 10% increase in profit each time. 10-ish% profit each time down the road, which compounds. Wild. Absolutely wild. But it's like it's a compounding 10%? Yeah, so it's it would be the next 10% would be 11% equivalent. Something like that. And then it would be 12% equivalent. No. 11.1. There would be diminishing percentage increase returns, I think. Like, this maths is too heavy for me to do in my head without writing anything down. But crypto is fun. That's my main thing about it. If you can afford to lose a little bit of money, then I would say just do it. Have fun. Maybe you'll make something, maybe you won't. But it's fun to be part of, I gotta admit. I did like I've been like not like participating in it. I've just been holding the stuff that I had for like a very long time until like the last couple of months, where I've like caught back up on all of the different currencies and like the politics around it. And now I've started actually like participating in it again. I mean, I could just hold and wait a couple of years and then I'd probably make a bunch, but I'm not gonna hold and wait when I could participate and have a lot of fun, you know? And maybe I lose some, but more likely I'll gain. Because I've got my brains. Got a bow tie. How could you not trust someone with a bow tie? I'm not even sure why people do the whole "this is not financial advice" thing. Like, because obviously that doesn't give you any legal protections. Because it should be obvious that it's like I'm not giving I am giving financial advice, but it's not. I'm not being paid for it. I'm not saying that it's going to be true. I'm not saying that it's going to fix. I have like mentioned specific assets, but I'm not like structuring a plan or anything. I'm like more talking about general techniques rather than making specific predictions, which I think is fine. Like if someone says, "Oh, you got to buy high, you got to buy low and sell high," is that giving financial advice? It was so weird. I don't know. Maybe I need to read up on that if I'm going to talk about it online. How long we got? 45 minutes. I do want some of those fancy crisps. I really hope that the local little shops have them. I think there is one. I think there's like a post office or something that has them. It's a bit of a walk though. especially if they might not. I'll have to check. Although I'm really getting into it now. I'm really thinking about them real hard. I wonder if I couldn't get them, like, where else could I try if it's not there? There are a few small shops around I could try, but none of them are like fancy. And these crisps are like fancy crisps, like real fancy crisps. I guess I'll just go spend an hour going through all of the local shops to try to find specific types of crisps. A crisp crusader, yeah. I'll be the Israel of finding crisps. Of this specific fancy crisps. I'll be colonizing all of the local shops. My religious expansionism through local shops. Oh, it's terrible. I think that's my one edgy joke used up for the week. I didn't get to make another edgy joke this week, so it's a quite late one in the week. Good morning. Oh, Steffi. And somebody's free as well. I also I didn't show, but I got the working again. Though it doesn't make as much sense on the on this scene, because it would bring something on screen up. But I brought it back. It's back. Woo! Woo! So much fun. I like it a lot. It's such a nice sound. I also think I bound one of the sounds to a key on the keypad that I have. Ooh. Yeah, there. That's so funny. Bum 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 bum. Oh. Nothing common about that. What's going on? Do 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 Nothing like a bit of Beverly Hills Cop theme, right? Axel F. I got some double-sided tape. This isn't double-sided tape. This is the thing that isn't sticky, that you put, that's like on double-sided tape, that you pull the double-sided tape off of. I've been playing with it. Then I got a big roll. I got a big roll of double-sided tape. That's what it looks like. So, it smells real like adhesive. But I got it so that I could put one of these lights up. Ooh, actually, I got these lights. I fixed these lights up so that I can control them for the thing, right? But if I turn them off, turn them off, right? So that I'm in darkness. But what's good about this now is that I can like animate the lights. So this is just a cool white light that I've got it programmed to, but I can change the colors, right? And this one is a warm light, and I can change the colors to that. But I can change the colors probably. So I'm going to change the cool one to blue, and see now I've got blue on that side. But they're LED strips too. I can change this one to red, and then now I'm red and blue. Look, it's like I'm a leftist YouTuber. Hey, look at me. Capitalism sucks. It's not like this actually. What is it? It's pink. It's pink and blue, right? So pink or magenta, and then like a softer blue. There we go. Look, now it's like I'm a leftist YouTuber. The by lighting. But what's really cool is because I'm so dark when I've got them off, like the colors are like really apparent from each of the pixels. So I can turn one on. So like, let me turn this one on, and then I'm gonna put an effect on. So if I strobe it, oh, actually there's a better strobe than that. Mega strobe. There, look. So it's not like a constant strobe. There is supposed to be a proper strobe. Maybe it's like intense strobe or something like that. Maybe stream 2 wants to do. Okay, that's like a single line that's a bit dark to actually bring up anything. Oh, it's like a rainbow, but I can put a rainbow on actually. Rainbow runner, so that will cycle through all of the colors. But then I can put it on as like sync. So I can put both of them on to like do the color thing. If I bias it towards white, it will just like do this weird shifty color thing. But I can change it to anything I want, random colors, and then it will like shift the two. I really like when it goes green, making me like partially invisible. It's real fun because of the green screen. In fact, let me change it to be solid because it's absolutely terrifying. Here we go, green. There we go. Wow, how about that, eh? Wow. Look at that, eh? Ooh, 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 whoa. There. How about that? Huh. Here I am, ghost, yeah. Can you believe this is still color? Look at my bow tie, it still appears. White. I can put on strobe. Try chase. There we go. So this, yeah. So this will just like change the colors over time, but like different. The lights will be different on different sides. Although it just had to choose the same color there. Here comes a yellow, green. There we go. It's so fun. It's so fun. Stellar content right now. Hey, that's not too bad. The full blue. What spots? Strobe rainbow. So I'll have. Is this going to be? Yeah. So this is just like random flashes of color. I wish I could do this, but have it like real fast. But it won't do both. I guess I could like hold it down and just like turn the colors around like this. So I could do strobe mega and then change it manually. So weird. It's also like it doesn't have as much of a strong effect because of the whole there's no sound effects to it, right? Like if I were to get it to pulse at the same time as the fast flashing looks like a real light to me. Yeah, it might be because it's coming from both sides for me. And they're slightly out of sync by the looks of things. So fun. With a light bulb. Yeah, these lights are pretty fun. I made them myself. I didn't make them from scratch myself, but it's they're LED, like raw LED strips that I've like stuck to my secondary monitors. Or tertiary? Secondary monitors. Because I have my setup right now is I have one portrait monitor which is over here. I think you've seen it, right? So I've got like a portrait monitor that's 1080p, a horizontal monitor that's 1080p, a 4K main monitor, and then I have my weird 1260 by 1600 16 by 10 2-ish K. Well, actually no, it's the closing to 4, right? 1260. No, it's like a 1440p but 16 by 10. Yeah, something like that. It's like between 4K and 1080p. But I use that portrait and on a teleprompter, so I have chat in there. Even though I read chat from here most of the time, I still have chat in there, so I can look towards there, and read things, and I can pull documents and stuff into that window, into that screen, because it's just a regular screen. Incredible control panel, workstation, library, dance studio, desk. Yeah, like given how far back I can go with this green screen as well. Before I started cast a shadow on it, there we go, and the shadow still, look at that. Shadow actually casts how you would kind of hope. And as long, if I point over here, I'm fine. But if I point over here, well, kind of fine too. Yeah, I've got quite a bit of distance between me and the green screen too. It's just so that I can keep this like isolation of light, because you're supposed to be behind the lights that light a green screen. That's why it's so clean. So like if I turn off these lights, you'll see how dark I am, and then as I get further back, now I'm into the light of the green screen, which is slightly warm, I think. Actually, it should be colder than this, but before, let me keep going until, so I can go this far back, and now I'm almost touching the green screen. My headphones cable is a bit tied up, so it isn't long enough, but now this is the green screen here. I'm touching it. Here we go. I can even, well, I'm not going to pull it up because it'll disband it, but it's pretty good. And I've got the isolation pretty decent. It's not like, it's pretty dead on the lights. So any shadows that do get cast are usually really behind me. But I've learned to handle this a little bit, and this needs to be slightly warm. I've still got it synced. not this one. This one is cool. And then this one should be warm. Not that warm. Not that warm. That'll do. Just so that I've got a little bit of like isolation from the background. It's not that great. That's a bit peachy. It's a bit peachy, that color. Let's go a bit more yellow. There we go. Yeah, that's good enough. But it's fun. I really enjoy lighting now. It's like I feel like I've gotten it down to a nice art now. That now I can like express with it rather than be annoyed at colors. Because with the other camera, it was just so annoying because the colors on the from the actual camera side of things were so bad. And then every time you stream details, yeah. I shouldn't spend so much time talking about the setup and workings of it, but sometimes I just get too excited about certain things. Yeah, like the clouds. The clouds are fun. But I do need to actually switch it so it's not split like this. So let me. I keep forgetting to switch it back, so let me just do that real quick. Background scene. Cloud ring split. There we go. So it should be like this, but I always forget. Always forget to switch it back. Because this I think is much nicer than the split where it like goes into the middle. This is actually a huge like 10,000 by 10,000 pixel circle, or a 10,000 diameter pixel circle full of clouds. Not full of clouds, it's like a hoop. Like it's 1080p high. And then it's like 10,000 pixel diameter. And then it rotates. And that's it. So instead of having the camera feed, I have this like this ring of clouds instead. And it gives a similar effect. And it also means that I can change the color of the background. So if I switch to the current Twitch layout, you can see that it fills the whole screen. But I also have a button in the background scene that lets me change it to blue. There we go. Which is nice. Look at how lovely that is. Although I do have this this thing that I'm playing around with the LUTs so that it looks a bit more not cinematic but like flatter, like a weird realism to it. So I can sort of play on some cinematic feeling from it, especially with this new ratio that I'm trying out. This 6:4, 6:9, 6:9 ratio, 6:9. I don't know. This ratio. It is a nice mood to it. It's like got a nice appearance to it. But then I can also if I click this button and then please. Okay. If I bring that in, so now this will echo. So this is the newer version of the loop. I don't know how well this will go with the frame rate, but we'll do it. But it like makes this like amazing visual echo to it. I don't know whether either of you have seen this. But basically it's like I'm green screening out a loop, and then with the clouds in it, it sort of, yeah, it does a really, really cool thing. And then if I actually change the background color from blue to green, it gets even better. Like that. because there is actually a slight color shift as well to this green screening out. So it should end up, yeah, you can kind of see it actually, the with the Discord overlay, where it like goes into a tube, but the clouds kind of destroy it like that, because the clouds kind of get rid of the history. And if I turn off the clouds, it becomes a huge tube. So off goes the clouds, and then we just give it a little bit of time, because there is quite a bit of a delay between each segment. 2, 3, yeah. So each layer takes 3 seconds to fix itself. That's so fun. I can't believe how visually consistent each layer is after a certain point. And the little compressed rainbows as well are so cool. It's starting to look like a 90s music video. Yep, that's kind of the vibe that I'm going for too, so I think I'm doing good, like early 90s, late 80s. It's mesmerizing. Especially like the visual noise as well, where like the feedback is like jumping these pixels back and forth. So cool. I like it a lot. Okay. Goodbye. Background noise, and then back to me doing the okay, I should turn that off. Even this is quite nice. This is like the apology video. This is what an apology video would look like. Hello, I'm sorry. Sorry, this is the only clothes that I had to change into. I'm apologizing for not streaming for a week. I hope that you will find it in your forgiveness, to find it in your heart to give me forgiveness. I look like I'm in an action movie, but like the colors anyway. The colors make me look like I'm in an action movie. Like somebody's like called into some eccentric, I don't even know, some eccentric, just full stop eccentric, some eccentric that they need like some word of advice from, and they live in a random place inside of a computer. Look at how clean the green screen is these days. I'm so proud of myself. Look how it's as if I'm in a blue void. It's so cool. I'm so proud of it. And then just putting the clouds in just breaks it up nicely. To be honest, the clouds make it look less professional for some reason. I don't know why the clouds do, but the clouds feel like it kind of ruins this clean feeling to it. Your outfit reminds me of this guitarist from AC/DC. An eccentric they need some word of advice from, exactly. Yeah. I mean that's effectively what I am, so at least I'm branding myself right. But it's what it looks like. Like you're in like Jurassic Park and you've had to like call out to some eccentric that lives in a computer, like an eccentric AI. How long we got? 20 minutes. That's a lot of fun. I love the clouds. The clouds are so fun. I think in the future I'll make a few of these different rings that are like the clouds, because it would be kind of cool, because you could make like a rainbow or like a bunch of text or lots of different things, like a collage of a wheel collage. A wheel of collage that could spin, and it would be so cool. Like, especially if I do like with the collage bot that I had on chat for a while, in Era 1, where it would like overlay the pictures of the things that people put in chat automatically. Like if I could do that, but with a wheel, like collage bot, like the Twitter bot I have, fill a whole hoop of random images like that are cut out by machine, and then like especially if it was on a given subject, and then you could have like a really cool background that speeds way too fast, because at least with clouds your brain kind of slows it down a little bit, but it will be way fast if it was random images. You'd barely be able to understand what was on it. But it'll be fun. That's what it would be. I like this idea of having a spinning ring. It's really cute. I think it works pretty well. It took forever to do though. No, it's probably an easy way to do it. I literally just sized it all up and plopped cloud brushes, and then rotated, and then plopped cloud brushes, and then rotated, and then plopped cloud brushes, and just kept doing that. I've legit been mistaken for a professional clown, and I hope to have been known as an eccentric one day. Yeah, I don't think I look like a clown. That's what's good. I used to have a black clown's nose, which is so good, and I think I might get another one, because I think that would be really fun. Like if I became like a better version of Def Noodles and actually did satire of news and just dressed like this but with a black clown's nose, and just talked about technology news but from a complete nihilist satirical sort of way, it would be real good. But I just do not want to sell myself to like one category of news. And also satire is kind of an annoying thing to try to like deal with in 2021. So and also I feel like within the community I'd be tempted to just sell myself as being the better Def Noodles. It would be terrible. Like that's not gonna be great. You know, the better Def Noodles, but about technology. Yeah, maybe not. You know. Okay, Lumens is down to 51. Imagine funny Def Noodles in Genius. Yeah, that would be amazing. You'd be great, but your power has too much good stuff. Yeah. So I am definitely going to do the Verb review. Oh, I'm not on Office Hours backgrounds anymore. Def Noodles Plus. Yeah, exactly. I'm not on the right screen now. Let me just switch back to the orange. And then switch to Office Hours transition. There we go. So I am going to do the Def Noodles Plus. I'm going to do the Verb review stuff, the tier list for verbs. Reese! It has been a while. So yeah, I was just going to talk about scheduling and stuff. So this, so I'm going to continue obviously doing office hours because office hours is the best, and everybody loves office hours. Office hours will stay forever. And then sometime next week, I'm probably going to do the YouTube trending page topic because I've got all the data for it. I've got like, it's like I listed, so I just got I finished compiling the list of YouTube IDs from the past 5 years that were on the trending pages of every country. Okay. From late 2017 till now, all of the IDs from trending pages in every language, every day, or each country because it's actually defined by territory. All of those listed into one file, and it was like 350 megs of just the IDs. I'm like, okay, this is going to take a long time to process anything to do with this. So it's going to take me a while to get that done, you know, to get any sort of useful charts and stuff out of it. Yeah, let me check again. Let me give you a figure actually. Oh. I can't remember what the file's called, but I know this directory has so many things now. Okay, yeah, main list. Okay. So in this file, there are 137,000 video IDs, and that's unique. So there are unique video IDs. So over the past 5 years, 137,000 videos have trended. So I have to download information to do with 137,000 videos. Because when I did this last time, because I did it for a period of a month, that was what the data was originally for. And I made like a nested tree graph, I think is what it's called. Let me quickly pull up that chart actually. Actually, I need to go get my keys. I'll be back in a second. Okay, I'm back. Oh, where'd you all go? I'm just kidding. I'm gonna get there, okay? I am very tall. I'm 6'10". Okay, I think this is the right place. Trending. Yes, this is it. A zoomable tree map is what I made. Reverb .la and then the secret URL. Is that right? Huh. Yeah, I'm a very long person. There we go. Okay, so this might, like, my stream might drop a little bit because it's this graph is a very complex one. And it takes up a lot of processing power to like get it to actually do its thing. Okay, so here we go. Here's the YouTube trending page in English-speaking territories in December 2017. Actually, there we go. That should be a bit better. 39, 42. Okay, we're dropping a little bit of frames, but we're not too bothered. It's going to get a lot worse from here. Okay, so overwhelmingly, so this is via views for these videos when I took them. So overwhelmingly, the views on the trending page were music during this time, and then followed by entertainment, people in blogs, probably film and animation, gaming, comedy, how to. But what's cool about this graph, okay, let me take this off so I can stare into yourselves, right? So what's cool about this graph is it's a zoomable tree graph, right? Which means you can click and see the videos inside of it. So if you look, you can see like there's little things here, like little blocks, right? If I click on one of these, I'm going to click on the entertainment one. Okay, now it's going to probably destroy my stream because it's going to start loading in video thumbnails. I'm going to try to watch the stats. Oh no, we're doing fine. We're doing fine. Okay, everything's fine. Everything's fine. 30 frames, whatever. Okay, but what you'll find is that a lot of these thumbnails will be dead because the video is taken down by now. Oh, and it crashed. Let's try again. Let's go to a smaller category like news and politics. But it zooms in to this area and shows you all of the videos in that. There we go, that's better. And you can click through to each of these videos to check out what they are as well. I'm not going to because it'll literally destroy me. But these were all the videos that were trending in December of 2017. And I also have like hourly data as well. So for entertainment trended most hours on it because I was taking a copy of the trending page every hour of every English speaking country, and taking note of all the videos on it. And I still collect it hourly, but for some reason the parsing script stopped working earlier this year, so I don't have exact data from post. I think it was like October 2020, something like that. I only get like intermittent data since then, but it's usually I get one from every country every day. But yeah, and then you can go into like drama. Here's all the drama videos that trended in English speaking countries. Everything that was marked as drama, at least. People in blogs. Let's have a look. See how many are still there. Oh, come on, little computer, you can do it. Wow. Oh, you can feel the cancellation. All these old videos taken down. Oh boy. Oh. Ooh, ouch. Ooh. But what I find that's like super interesting about having this huge data set is that like when people keep saying like, oh, such and such doesn't trend, I can be like, are you sure about that? And I'll go check, and 9 times out of 10 they have trended. Like PewDiePie trends all the fucking time. It's just not very like, because people don't go to the trending page. Like, who goes to the trending page? Who gives a shit? It's like the general public, the people who don't have accounts, the people who don't like chat, the people who don't interact with, they're not audience members, because the audience members use the subscription page. I hear an audio issue. It's probably just me shouting too much. 1 2 1 2. Okay, whatever. Yeah, I think I only ever used the trending page for this project. But as I said, I've got data going back to 2017 when I started this specific infographic, and then I've just basically kept the script running since then. And occasionally I have to fix it. But now it's like I have all the data for each country, not even just English ones, but also to other countries too, to other languages. So I can see so much data now. And it's like, yeah, 137,000 videos since then have trended. So the data is going to be a lot. I'll probably have to pre-download all of the thumbnails as well, which will easily be like probably into like the 800 gig territory. I'm guessing I'm approaching a terabyte of data. There is no way that 130,000 720p images will be like not ridiculous in size. Plus then all of the then doing like analysis to have it over time as well, so like month on month probably as well I'll end up doing, because Reese, I'm making a performance, a presentation to do with the trending page. That's why I'm talking about this right now, just because I have the data there and it's something that might be interesting, and it's also like trending pages are always relevant, I think, to the discussion on YouTube. So we're going to do that. And then I might do the cancel culture thing, because that's fun. Yeah. Because the show, I want to be mostly about news or relevant subjects to what's going on. So, and we're just experimenting with formats. So this is like a data-driven format, long-form preparation thing. It's not something I could do every day, but it would be something that I like, I would like do once in a while, maybe like once a month or something. This would be like the big prep video, and then maybe I would have smaller prep videos that were like weekly, and then I would have like the daily videos that are like I do research on stream and then and then perform it, things like that. But it'll be fun, because then the longer term projects could be more community involved too. How long we got left? Because we're past 6 now, aren't we? Oh, we've literally just hit 3 hours. Okay. Well, let me leave the Discord and then we'll finish up. No callers today. Not even someone coming in screaming the N-word. Terrible. That happened last week, Reese. That was fun. But yeah, we had a vote in the Discord server for which we would go with. Which of the long form ideas we would go with. The options were trending page, cancel culture and immortality, or my Twitter bots. One day maybe you'll jump in. Yeah, I mean, do you know what time it roughly is every day? Every week, sorry. So feel free. It's its purpose. I'm in the server, but there's so many I get confused. Yeah, that's fine. Don't worry about it. There's cool channels in my server. There's one for pets that aren't animals, for showing photos of pets that aren't animals. There is a general chat, but the letter E is banned. And what else is in there? That's the interesting ones. That's the interesting public ones anyway. I share the scripts of the show, and the rest is just sort of like normal stuff. Why is E banned? Because it's fun. Actually, it's a really cool channel because people go into it not knowing what it is, and then they just try to talk normally, and then their messages get automatically deleted. So you can't, as soon as you use the letter E or the E symbol in emoji, or even the number 3, it just deletes it. So you have to use your language wisely to be able to speak, and it's the general channel. So people, yeah, any serious discussion we have elsewhere, but the general channel is the letter E is banned, but it doesn't look it because people sometimes are really good at just not using the letter E. I feel like I've got a pretty decent command of the English language, and I don't need to use the letter E all of the time. So I can like communicate reasonably well without using the letter E. So if anyone just comes across the general channel, they will just try to speak normally because they don't notice anything different, and then as soon as you try, you're bound to use the letter E, and then it'll just ruin it. But it's really fun. If anyone is lurking in chat, here's a link to the Discord if you want to join, if it sounds interesting to you. It's not as simple as it sounds, but it is really fun, and I don't think that is as hard as it feels like it should be. Like, I feel like once you get into it, it's like not as hard. Although it's much easier for me because I don't actually it doesn't actually delete the messages for me because I'm too high of a level in the server. So I have to manually edit my messages if I occasionally just accidentally add an E. So I have the benefit of that, but I still obey it. I always change every time I forget, I generally notice and then change it. But it is like a game. It's really fun. But you changed game, but you didn't change like. So you'd be fucked with that message. I'm in a group that is called Fantastic Small Boys, and the letter N is banned. It's so adorable. That's fun. No N words. No N words allowed. It's fun. Okay, I should go. I'm gonna go try to hunt down these crisps, I think. Oh, it's been good. Follow me on Twitch. I think both of you are. But if there's anyone else, go check it out. Do I even have a Twitch command? Twitch. Let's have a check. I don't even know. I think so. But it's just Revebla there if I don't. Oh yeah, there we go. Yeah, and watch out for the show when it gets published here. When I'm recording on Twitch, I will upload the show segment out of those streams onto the show, as I did with the first beta test of the show. I will do it later too. Anyway, take care. Brush your hair. Stay hydrated. Oh no, I don't have the button to end the stream up on my screen.